Monday the 5th of February 2024. This is the start of my third week. I'm feeling a bit anxious today. I didn't have a very good night's sleep. I felt a bit disturbed. We've got quite high winds as well today, but I think what is really getting to me is the fact that tomorrow I have to go to the doctor's surgery to have my bloods. Okay, I usually only have to go there like once a year, but I already am dreading it. I don't even like the energy of the building, not from even the outside, let alone the inside. In fact, I don't like most buildings that have bureaucracy attached to them. They give off a lot of negativity, is my feeling. My rash is continuing to improve. I still have a little bit of irritation, but we're getting there. My legs look such a mess though. I might end up with some scarring where I've been scratching. I'm trying not to scratch. I have been trying to keep busy today. I'm going to go for a short walk in a little while. I've made some lentil soup. I have cook some beetroot. I'm going to make some pickle. There's some kind of a road vehicle outside now, one of these tarmac things rolling by. It's just suddenly started out of the blue. No notification anything was going to be happening like that. And one of my friends came to collect her Avon, and she has a new puppy called Rufus, chocolate Labrador, sweet dog. Merlin doesn't really mind dogs at all. He's completely unfazed, but he came from a rather large cat household that also had a German Shepherd dog. Arthur doesn't like dogs, and Miss Robin is just curious. Nothing really scares her very much. She had a look at him and eventually decided that the top of my piano was more interesting than the dog. She has a nice blanket on top of the piano. It's one of her favourite places to sit. And this afternoon I have my piano lesson. Hopefully it will go well. As I said, I'm feeling rather tired, so I'm not sure how well I'll play today. And when I come back from my walk, I'm going to have something nice for lunch. And yesterday Dan got a Too Good To Go bag from Costa Coffee. There was about 65% off the price, otherwise it would go in food waste. And we've had a couple of goodie bags so far from different places, and there was a hog roast toasty, they're £5.25 normally, and there was my favourite almond slice, which I reserved immediately, and a pain au chocolat. The hog roast toasty and the pain au chocolat are both now in the freezer, and the toasty will make a good packed lunch for Dan later in the week. Today is Tuesday the 6th of February 2024. I have just come back from the doctor's having my bloods done, and I'm very glad it's over with now. I got there about 10 minutes early and I was seen early. The nurse was wearing one of those blue face masks, the flimsy ones that were used during the pandemic. And I said to her, "It's really hot in this room. I don't know how you could wear the mask as well." To which she's like, "Oh, I have to." Well, in my book, there's no such word as have to. And she says, "Oh, are you all right with the plaster?" My nose was running because of the smells of the chemicals and things. My eyes were itchy. And I said, "Yeah," I said, "I'm okay with plasters. I need one anyway, otherwise I'll bleed all over the place." So I left there, I wished her a good day. And of course, as I came out through the double doors, there was a nurse who just called somebody in and she wasn't wearing a mask. I mean, quite honestly, with the last few years, some people are actually traumatised by seeing people in masks. I don't know what part of the memo these medical people didn't get. Really? There's people, for example, as well, who have deafness or the hard of hearing and wear a hearing aid and need to be able to lip read. There's also people who maybe have blocked sinuses, so they're a bit mutt and Jeff. I think these nurses at practices should say, are you okay with me wearing a mask? And if the answer is no, then don't do it. Anyway, I'm home now and I'm ready to talk about a few things. The first thing I want to talk about is saving money. Things, of course, are getting more and more expensive in the shops. And yes, I do support the farming campaign. No farmers, no food. Remember to hashtag. It's getting serious. The supermarkets give very little money to the farmers for what lands in the shelves. So whenever possible, please shop local, support your local farmers, support your local butcher, baker, fishmonger, greengrocer. If you've got a dairy nearby, support them. Support the small people over the large businesses because they're not paying much. And of course, the governments have cut subsidies, and also the other thing that's happened is that farmers are being paid not to farm the land. They're being offered big sums of money not to farm the land and maybe just sell it for housing or whatever. I mean, here in Thanet, it seems that every inch of farmland is being built on. The thing about the globalists is if they cut the food supply to the people, then the people have no choice but to bow to the tyranny, or so they think. So if you've got only a few of these independent sellers nearby, I would suggest that if possible, you start to grow your own produce. I was in Aldi last week and was horrified at finding a net of satsumas which was sprayed with forever chemicals. Now the lady on the till said, oh, well, everything's sprayed, blah, 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 you can just wash it off. No, it's not that simple. There was no getting through to her, so I just had to leave that. Then, of course, there's everything else. So I would say wherever possible, do a budget. Budget out what you're spending each week or each month. Pay in cash wherever you can, because at least when you're paying in cash, when the cash is gone, that's it. You can just go mad if you spend on your debit card. You just think, oh yeah, it's £15, £20, but it all adds up. And if you feel that you can't trust yourself to stay within a budget on your debit card, then I would say use cash. And in any ways, it's very important to use cash. You need to be thinking of the ramifications if you don't use cash. No money for the buskers, no putting money in a jar that goes round the pub for a whip round for somebody, whether they're ill or getting married or whatever it is. There's businesses who rely on cash because the bank charges are quite hefty. Quite often, I was very pleased when Dan and I shopped in Castle Douglas up in Dumfries and Galway last September, how keen the shopkeepers and the restaurants were to receive cash. And some even said they preferred cash, which is good. So support your cash businesses as much as possible. It's really important. If there is the predicted crash, we will need to have some money in our houses. But please make sure that any money that you do keep at home is in a secure place as well. That's Merlin scratching around. He's been in his litter box, bless him. What a sweet he's been. So I've been looking at ways we can save money. Now, a lot of our costs are fixed costs, and we need quite a substantial amount of money to get by each month. Dan spends probably about £500 a month on petrol getting to and from his jobs, and also that includes a bit of leisure as well, although we try and get the bus when he's off as much as possible, and it gives him a break from driving as well. Sometimes he's able to get the train, but of course that too is a cost, and it's not necessarily cheap either getting a train into London. So I think it's really important to look at ways we can save money. We usually give ourselves a budget of maybe £400 a month for food. That doesn't include cat food as well, but I'm going to see if I can do it for under £300 this month, and even lower if possible, but I'm not sure whether we'll be able to do that. I do tend to donate every month to Cats in Crisis, usually to the two young guns' foster mum. I try and buy her some food for all her cats. But I didn't do it in January, and I don't know how much I'll be able to do it in future, but I'll try and do it whenever I can. I do have a consignment of food coming, and about £25 of that is for her cats, and the rest is for ours. I use Approved Foods because they do good deals on cat food. It's all in date, and as long as you don't mind lucky dips or packaging that might be a bit bashed around, I haven't had any cat food that's been anywhere near its best before as well, and there's usually quite a bit of money off in comparison to the shops. And Merlin's just left a mess for me to clear up. Paper everywhere. He's been having a good scratch around, bless him. That is the main area to concentrate on for us two this month. Food. You don't have to make the savings all at once. Even gradually will do. But I will say I'm feeling okay. I don't like the energy of the building. I didn't enjoy sitting in there. I was probably slightly grouchy as well. I wasn't rude, but slightly grouchy. It was my way of getting through it. My coping mechanism was to be slightly on the polite but curt scale today. But I'm all right. I've got through it okay. I'm feeling okay. Now the wait begins. The results might be through on Friday, she said. I don't know whether I will rush to get them. I don't particularly want to have to speak to the doctor or anybody else for that matter. I wouldn't care if I didn't go again for the next decade. That's how I feel about it. But I'm going to have some breakfast shortly. I had some natural yogurt and a little bit of stewed apple for an early amuse-bouche, shall we say, before going for my appointment. But I'm going to have a good breakfast now. And I'll be sharing some more soon. This is Tuesday evening, the 6th of February. After this morning's episode, I've had quite a good day. It took me ages to cool down though, after being in such a overheated environment for about 15 minutes at the surgery this morning. It really was unbearable. It's as hot as you often find in nursing homes. You know, you go into a nursing home and it's boiling because all the elderly people feel the cold. and the heating's cranked up, it was like that. I mean, there were a lot of people as well in the waiting room this morning, all age groups, and I've never seen it so busy. So obviously things are back to normal at our surgery anyway. So what I did today, I feel quite happy about. I achieved quite a few things. I feel kind of more or less more like my old self again after a couple of weeks of anxiety. I have started using again the Amanda Ellis Bronze Archangel Sandalphon Aura Spray, energy spray, and I used that last night. This is the difference a good night's sleep brings. I don't think insomnia is very good at all for one's mental health. Anyway, last week I ordered the new Marilyn Monroe spray, which is for the Divine Feminine, and this arrived yesterday, and it's in a cute bottle with Marilyn Monroe on the front, and it smells amazing. I believe it's got rose in and violet, but it's beautiful. I will enjoy using that. And there's a crystal as well in the lid. That's so cool. The crystal, because diamonds are a girl's best friend. And it's not just women who can use it, men who are in touch with their divine feminine side as well might also find it useful. And, you know, even men who need to connect with the divine feminine might also find it useful. I also today finished making a cushion. This has taken a while because, you know, I'm always so busy, but I finally managed to stuff the new cushion pad, sew it up and put it in the new cushion cover that I made, and sew a decorative button on the back. So this is my new cushion for the living room. I have a yellow living room. I love yellow. It doesn't suit me as a colour, but I love rooms that are yellow. And it's so cheerful. I love it. It's joyful, like Jophiel, the Archangel. I always think of Jophiel when I see the colour yellow. But I just think this is lovely. It feels so tactile as well. It's in shades of beige and red. I've still got the red curtains up and some mustard yellow. I am making new curtains. They're nearly finished now. What's held me up is the fact that I need to go and sort out a semi-industrial sewing machine to finish them off properly. I don't know how I managed to make blinds for the conservatory. It's a bit tough with a domestic sewing machine. The curtains are in muted shades of yellow tartan. Beautiful. We'll be redecorating the living room this year anyway. I might change one or two of the yellow shades. We've got 3 or 4 different shades. They all complement one another. It's all done in Farrow & Ball. And Farrow & Ball brought out some interesting shades later last year. I'd like to choose something in a stronger shade that really stands out against the more muted shades of the curtains. That's really what I would like. I just feel I would just like a an extra pop of colour somehow, really. And we've eaten dinner now, and I'm going to sit with the big boy and the fluffy Miss Robin. Arthur's upstairs sleeping on the spare bed, and I'm going to have a bath and wash my hair, and I'll use the Sandalphon again, I think, and hope for another good night's rest. This is Wednesday the 7th of February in the evening. I've had a good day. I had a strange dream last night. In the dream, I went upstairs to the bathroom wash basin to bring some water down. Goodness knows how, because we've only got a small wash basin. I needed to bring the water down to the kitchen, and I'd left the tap upstairs just running a little bit, but it was coming through the kitchen ceiling, and my lovely kitchen was getting ruined. I went upstairs and turned the tap off, and Dan came home, and there was a bulge in the ceiling downstairs in the kitchen, and I was going to have to pay out to have the work done again, which was going to cost more money. Obviously it's symbolic. I haven't quite worked out yet what it means. Maybe somebody will, or maybe it'll come to me. But this kitchen cost a lot of money, so I sincerely hope that it's not a literal dream. I have been down to the PLE to tidy the pictures and put a few things in, and had a cup of tea, and I made some jewellery today to put in my website, catevans.com, and I've had a nice meal, and now I'm going to turn in for the night. And tomorrow is hopefully another good day. Today is Friday the 9th of February, and it's a new moon, and tomorrow is Chinese New Year. It's the year of the dragon. My mum was born in 1940. That was the year of the dragon as well, and I've got one or two friends who were also born in the year of the dragon in 1964. It's going to be an interesting year. Anyways, a little update. I'm doing okay. I am not sleeping too bad, a bit better. I do feel tired today. I woke up early, but I had a good sleep. I think I just need to catch up on sleep a little bit and I'll be fine. The weather's dull, which doesn't help, but I'm going to go a walk shortly, and that will do me the world of good. I've made some curries for later. Our friend Angel is coming down for the weekend, and we're having a homemade garlic chili paneer, and also a lentil dal with some potatoes and rice. I'm making some bhajis. I'm making an effort. It's a while since we've seen him. It's quite a long time since he's been down to see us. So I thought we would have a little celebration. I have watched the Tucker Carlson interview this morning with Vladimir Putin. It's on Rumble. It's free to watch. It was quite enlightening. One thing I will say is, whatever he is or isn't, that President Putin has an astounding knowledge of political and social history of the last 1,000 years, yet Biden can barely remember what he had for his breakfast this morning. It's interesting anyway to hear the other side of the story, because mostly we just hear what Zelensky has to say. Anyway, I'm not going to spoil it. You can go and watch it yourselves. I'm sure there'll be some interesting stories coming out in mainstream media, as per usual. The circus never ends. There's also some wild and wacky theories about King Charles and his cancer. And I'm keeping an open mind. I can understand what some people are saying and why, because so many people were hoodwinked over the last few years. So now they are thinking that this is another psyop, another form of propaganda to lead us into another medical intervention if we become sick with cancer. And that's all I'm saying. If he is indeed using a variety of homeopathic treatments for his cancer rather than chemo, which has all kinds of toxins in it, it's highly toxic, then perhaps the NHS England and Wales may reconsider their stance on homeopathy and start to offer it to people again. But I can understand where some people are coming from, but I'm endeavouring to stay away from as much of this as possible, as it's no good for my mental health. And I'm dealing with a lot of stuff that inevitably has been bottled up, even subconsciously. I have always made an effort to deal with stuff, but there is some stuff that's bottled up and it's come up for healing, and I'm trying to deal with it in the best way that I can. Apart from that, I'm feeling good. I'm enjoying drinking structured water, and even Dan can tell the difference between, say, mineral water and tap water. He never realised before he tried drinking more mineral water and structured water how bad the water tastes here, but can now wholly see where I'm coming from. Whereas before he couldn't see, he didn't think there was anything wrong with the water, but having had more of the pure stuff, he now knows. We only use it boiled up for hot drinks. The rest of the time, me in particular, I'm drinking either spring water, mineral water, or structured water. The shungite crystal has gone in a light place today to cleanse under the new moon. Shungite crystal should be charged at least twice a month, and I choose to charge it on the new moon and the full moon, which to me seems the most logical thing to do. But if you want to use shungite, or if you use shungite, you do what feels right to you. I've also built myself another healing grid. I'm manifesting things, and I've been enjoying playing the piano as well. I've had some really good long practices this week, getting the hang of Philip Glass, and I'm really enjoying it, although I don't think Miss Robin has quite the same opinion. Whenever I start to play Philip Glass, she leaves her favourite sitting place on top of the piano and goes elsewhere. whereas Merlin doesn't mind, he's quite happy. I am keeping more or less an open book on the weekend, and no doubt we will have fun, and I have some nice food planned. But for now, I will be off for a little walk. This is Sunday, the 11th of February 2024. This is the end of my third week. I haven't been using the remedy for a couple of weeks. In some ways, I feel better than before I started taking the remedy, even though I only had it for a week. In other ways, there isn't really any difference. I'm starting though to feel better again in myself. I've had a good weekend. Yesterday was just difficult at times. I played the piano for quite a long time yesterday, and I prepped a little bit of food, but we still had curry left from Friday night, so we had that heated up, and Dan and I had got a few Chinesey bits from Marks and Spencer's to go with the rest of the food. So it was like an Indo-Chinese feast. It was quite nice. I've done another batch today of structured water. Now the shungite crystal has been cleansed, and that should be ready tomorrow to drink. The weather's been dull though the last couple of days. I had a good night's sleep last night. I had about 8 hours for once. That hardly ever happens. And it's about 10 p.m. now, and I'm ready for bed, and hopefully I'll have another good night's sleep. I'm going to spray a little of the Archangel Sandal Foam Bronze spray in my aura. I'm at my next consultation on Tuesday and look forward to that, and hopefully a good week with a new remedy.